welcome back to Plan for Productivity. For those of you who are new, my name is Andrea and today we're going to be talking about focus. You know, lately when you're at home and there's so much going around, it's getting even harder to sit down and focus on what you need to do. And for this, over the past few months, I've developed a kind of like a 5-step routine that I do to get me into that focus zone. The idea is to find a 3 to 5 step routine that you can do in order to get into that productive mindset and train your brain to understand that it's time to focus. So let's do this. For starters, I'm gonna cheat a little bit because it is a 5-step routine and this one will come back in the end. Before you can even focus on anything that you need to do, you need to decide and you need to have a very clear instruction set of what it is that you need to do. So this obviously entails planning out your day, deciding what it is that you're gonna work on through a specific number of hours. And that is a much bigger topic that we can talk about later if you guys want, but it'll come back in the end and you'll see what I mean. The bottom line is you need to know what you're gonna work on. If not, you're never gonna be able to focus. So my routine goes like this. The first thing I'm gonna do is make myself a cup of coffee or tea or any kind of drink that will kind of shift me a little bit into the awake and focus mode. Very necessary for me to be able to focus. So while my coffee is brewing, I will come back to my desk and tidy up a little bit, you know, just set up my space. And what this usually entails is just like organizing the top of my counters and that my desk is clear, and then I'll set up my diffuser or a candle just because that really relaxes me and allows me to focus, and I enjoy having that in my space while I'm working. But once I've set up the diffuser, I'll go back, get my coffee and bring it to my table. I'll grab my phone and turn it on Do Not Disturb. During this step, I'll obviously turn off all other distractions and notifications, turn off Netflix if I had it on, turn off the notifications on my computer, anything that you might need. For me, it's just Do Not Disturb. Then I will turn on a Spotify playlist for focus, any of the ones I feel like doing in the moment. And finally, I open up my bullet journal, look at my to-do list, find the most important thing I have to do, and start working. So very, very simple. Coffee, diffuser, Do Not Disturb, Spotify, to-do list. Coffee, diffuser, Do Not Disturb, Spotify, to-do list. That's it. 5 little things that I do in a row every single time that I want to sit down and focus that just completely shifts my mindset and it gets me into the focus zone. So what ends up happening is that as I'm doing that routine every single day, my brain starts to get trained to understand that doing those 5 things then comes followed by a few hours of focus. And because I have eliminated all distractions, I no longer need to get up for something to drink. I do not have my phone beeping at me. I am comfortable in my space because I organized it and I set up a diffuser that kind of makes me feel a little bit more at home. And I have decided what it is that I need to do. My brain has no option but to focus on the task at hand. And that's why this routine is so powerful, because if you can create a 3 to 5 routine that you can do every single time before you focus, I promise you getting into the focus zone will be so much easier. So let me show you more or less the principles of how you can do that. So the first step was coffee, and it doesn't have to be coffee for you. You can just pick any kind of drink that you want to have at your table that you can associate with focus work. So for me, that obviously means coffee. I also like the caffeine, but it could just be your bottle of water. It could be some tea. And the most important point about this is that if you have it at the table, you won't be urged to get up and go drink some water and be distracted. So definitely find yourself a drink that you can associate with work and make sure to get it before you're gonna sit down and focus. My second step was about my space. For me, it's setting up a diffuser and a candle. For you, it could be organizing your space. It could be bringing all of your little gadgets that you're gonna use during that work time. It could be cleaning up because you left a mess there. It could be designating a workspace. The idea of this second step for me is to basically prepare the space that I'm gonna use and be like, okay, I'm ready to focus. Let's take everything off the table, and this is now just for working. And that's what you can bring to the table by doing whatever it is you need to do to set up your space in a way that encourages you to focus. The third step was setting up do not disturb. This is crucial. I don't even have to explain it. Everybody knows that your phone is gonna distract you, and it is a huge distraction even if you don't notice it. So for me, do not disturb is more than enough, but for some people it could be taking your phone to another room, or it could be that maybe you just need to have one certain app giving you notifications. It could be turning off your phone altogether. It could be setting up your computer so that you don't get the notifications for every little thing that you don't need. It could be getting out of your email inbox so that your emails aren't popping on your screen. The point of this step is to plan ahead for those distractions that are gonna come and avoid them. This could also be, for example, that you live at home with other people and you need to go ahead and tell them, hey, I'm gonna work for 2 hours, please do not come in and distract me. You know, that could be your little cue to get your brain into the mindset of, I need to focus and I don't want any distractions. The fourth step was a Spotify playlist. Now this works for me because I like to work with music and noise. It actually makes me focus more. But for some people that could be white noise, for other people it could be ambient noise, for other people it could be total quiet. The idea of this step really is to get something in your environment that you can associate with being focused. So for example, it could be cracking up the temperature in your room because you like to work in the cold. It could be turning on the light settings so that you know exactly that it's focus time and it's not dark and cozy in your room anymore. Do whatever you need. This is about finding a little habit or task that you can do that will associate the rest of your time in that space with work time. And for example, the lights, every single time the lights are like this, it's work time. And then at nighttime, they're probably on a cozier setting. Do whatever you need to do to make your space somewhere you actually can focus. And finally, step number 5, which I told you was kind of cheating in the beginning because it comes back, but that is looking at your to-do list. And this is crucial. If you're gonna sit down and focus and you don't know what to do, you're gonna wander, you're gonna procrastinate, you're gonna do whatever you feel like doing instead of what you should be doing. So it's important that you have a plan for what it is that you need to focus on. So usually for me, this just means opening up my to-do list because I planned it the night before. But for you, it could be taking 2 minutes to look at your calendar, decide what you want to work on first. It could be taking a few minutes to actually plan out the rest of your week. It could be logging into your task manager and deciding what is going to be your priority and then focusing on that. Whatever it is you're doing in this step, the important thing to do is to basically decide what you're going to work on, set a time frame for that, work that you're gonna do, and hopefully a kind of mini goal that you want to achieve during that time. That way your brain will know exactly what it needs to do during that time, and it has no longer any excuses not to do it. The magic of this routine really comes from doing it so many times in a row, because that's what's going to train your brain. We are creatures of habit, and if you get into the habit of doing these little things right before you have to get started working, it'll be so much easier for you to get into that zone of focus. This is what I'm doing. Do not talk to me about anything else. And hopefully this will help you stay focused. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would really much love to have you back here. And you can follow me on my Instagram for more tips like this that I do on a daily basis. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!